All right. Welcome back.
Misfit Nation. Misfit Nation. The Misfit Nation Show.
We are a show founded by a veteran and hosted by two veterans and a military spouse. Our mission is to get people to tell their stories to the world. If you're an author, share your tips with the Misfit Nation. If you're a musician or an actor, our audience needs to know how they too can get into the business. Coaches, we love our coaches. Come on and share your tips with the Misfit Nation to help them become better versions of themselves. If you are a corporate leader or an entrepreneur, come on and show how you did it and how hard you have fought for success. If you are a veteran, first responder, or Gold Star family, we would love to have you come on and share your story with the Misfit Nation. We always have time for you. If you're feeling down, alone, or starting to see the darkness, Stop. Think about those who are around you. You are not alone. You will be missed. If you feel like your problems will be a burden to those in your inner circle or feel embarrassed, dial 988. If you are a veteran, take option 1. We need you to keep pushing forward. Don't make a permanent solution to a temporary problem. If you are a new listener, welcome to the Misfit Nation Show. Be sure to subscribe to our show on your favorite podcast app. Also on our YouTube channel at @the_Misfit Nation. Subscribe and click the bell to keep you up to date on our latest episodes and all of our news. You can also find us on Heroes Media Group and About Face Radio. Now, let's get to the show!
Episode 3 of Memorial Week is about to go live across your airways. Cagney, fresh from a trip from the north to the south in God's country. Jake Lacey, after a great show last night, hauled some hogs today and no humans to the pig farm. He is ready for a great show. So grab yourself a buttered biscuit. Reach up above your head. Pull down them shoulder straps nice and tight. Put them lap belts on. Get your helmets on. And let's get ready to rock, boys!
Right on. Ladies and gentlemen.
And I'll add to what Rich said, and no humans were dropped off at the pig farm today. Today.
Today. How are you, sir?
I am good. Welcome to Tennessee.
Thank you.
And if you get a chance, make it on up to Kentucky for a little while.
Well, I could walk, but I got bad knees. And...
I get that brother to bring you up here.
Well, unlike you, he has to work for a living.
Okay, we'll just leave it at that. Hey, I tell you what, though, one day, if you're going to come into the office, let me know. I'll bring Silvio so you can meet him.
Oh, okay, that'd be great.
All right. Well, gotta welcome all members of the family to the family.
Oh, definitely. That's how it works.
Whichever works. Well, hey, we are in day 3 of our Memorial Day or our Memorial Week, and where we're focusing on soldiers who have made the supreme sacrifice, and we're talking to people who can kind of shed light on their sacrifice and shed light on their legacy that they left behind. We've had 2 great shows so far this week, and I'm pretty sure tonight is going to rank up there and be great as well. And I just, before we get started, let's take care of some admin notes here. If you're feeling the darkness, and trust me, it can happen during this week. You might start remembering a close friend and just it's really got you down, dial 988, take option 1, talk to somebody about it. If you don't want to go that route, call a friend. Call me, 270-350-1370. We will listen. We will listen. And
call me too.
Call Stephen. And, tomorrow is a more beautiful place with you in it.
Yes, it is.
So, well, hey, with that being said, Stephen, why don't you introduce our guest?
No, I don't want to. That's your
Okay.
job, baby. That's your job.
Okay. Well,
I am the comedy relief kid.
Okay. Hey, on this episode tonight, we have First Sergeant retired Aaron Hudgins. He's a 26-year Army veteran. He's a survivor, advocate, mentor. I'm not going to go in too much about it because I am going to let him tell his story about how he turned unimaginable loss into purpose. And without any further ado, let's get him in here.
Good evening, Aaron. How are you?
Good evening, Aaron.
Hey, it's great to be here. Thank you guys for letting me come out and speak.
Hey, we're proud to have you. Proud to have you. I gave about the 2-cent portion of your bio.
Perfect. That's the only part that matters. So shoot away with the rest of the questions.
You can start wherever you want and fill in all the blanks and bring us up to why, how we got to where we are today.
Oh, that's a great one. Well, I joined the Oklahoma National Guard for a number of reasons. One was just for college and to get my feet wet. And maybe if I liked it, I was going to go active duty. But what I found out was with the Guard, it's like a family, and it's a tight knit group that they go and they're very much invested in their communities. And a lot of people don't realize how invested National Guard is to their community because they're only there one weekend a month, but the rest of the week they're grinding away at regular jobs and doing regular things. And that really spoke to me from the get-go. And so I said, okay, well, let's give the Guard a try. I convinced my wife at the time that we would never deploy because it's the Guard. And then very next year, I was in Bosnia. So joke's on me because they absolutely deploy. But I had 4 state activations where a lot of people they forget that the National Guard is the first one to call up and leave everything. And so I did Katrina, I did Harvey, I did the 9/11, and I also did a May 3rd tornado. So, and every time I would do one of those, it just reinvigorated why I joined. And so I just kept going, grinding away. And after my second deployment, after my first divorce, I ran into my wife, my deceased wife now, and we connected very quickly. I loved her, just how gutsy she was. She was an E5 at the time, and you wouldn't be able to tell. She had the guts of an E9, and that really intrigued me because a lot of times they're not like that. But she spent the first 4 years of her career in the 82nd Airborne.
Okay.
So she wasn't built the same, and from there we immediately connected, and it was going very well until she got injured on her getting ready for her 3rd deployment. She had deployed to Iraq with 82nd, Afghanistan with the Oklahoma Guard, and she was gearing up for another trip to Afghanistan when she broke her hip at Fort Bliss, Texas. The injury was pretty severe to the point where her career was going to be over, and that devastated her more than she let on to believe. And that is when everything started kind of spiraling out of control. And before I knew it, it was, April 29th, 2018, I woke up to my wife dead. And I like to tell people that, she didn't commit suicide. She died from suicide because I don't look at it the same way as everyone else. Mm-hmm. And so from that point, I was struggling to figure out, where do I go? Do I keep going in the military? Do I get out? Because I was pretty close to retirement at the time. And it would actually be my kids who told me, you guys had a plan. Why aren't you sticking to the plan? And I didn't understand it at first because I was like, well, the plan's changed. And they said, yeah, but the the objection has not changed. Maybe who's in the mission may have changed, but the end result is still that you wanted to go back to college and get your guys' degree. And I looked and thought about it, and I was like, they're absolutely right. Why am I changing the plan just because I'm missing a key personnel? And something in the military they taught us very well, is to adjust on the fly.
Yeah.
And so I said, well, if I can't do it with her, I'll do it for her. And so I got back into college, and 2 years later, I graduated from the University of Oklahoma. And I did it partially for her as well as myself, because that was our plan. And even though things have changed, that plan still needed to be executed. And so, and it was my kids that reminded me of that. And after that, that's when I decided, okay, this is time to start looking for a new direction. And that's when I found the Travis Manion Foundation. Well, actually, they found me.
Okay.
It wasn't me looking for them. I could tell you in Oklahoma, they are an unknown source. They have no idea who they are. It's a very interesting considering how big the organization is. But yeah, I didn't know what it was. I almost deleted the email because I wasn't sure what it was. So I took an expedition with Travis Manion Foundation with other survivors. And that's where things completely flipped my script, was being with 12 other people that shared in the same experiences, that they did the same things. I may have been the only guy there, but their experiences were so similar. And they were there to try to not only better themselves, but maybe help somebody else. And that really spoke to me. And when I got back from that expedition, and it was only a week long in Arizona, I was like, okay, what do we got to do? And I told my son, and that's when he said, Dad, I really want to try that. And so he was old enough, and so we applied for an expedition for him. He went to Puerto Rico with the Travis Manion, and he came back, and that we were 2 for 2 on that. He was completely shocked and completely over profound. Like, he goes, I met my people, Dad. I met people that are just like me. They're sharing the stories. I can understand where they're going through, and they can understand me. And he was like, I didn't even want to leave. And so at that point, that's when him and I decided, let's do something here, because I can see the value, absolutely see the value. Mm-hmm. And so we started, and for the past year, my son and I have been grinding just about every month, trying to figure out how to get this bad boy off the ground. It's like building a plane in flight. So it's been profoundly difficult, but I've enjoyed the difficulty, because that's, in the military, the way they look at it is, if you're doing it right, it's hard. That's the way you.
Yes.
And I'm heading towards the right direction, because it is extremely difficult. Am I out of my comfort zone? Absolutely. And that actually tells me, hey, you're on the right path. Keep going. So, and same with my son. So here we are, and we just did an honor project yesterday, and it had some amazing results. So I've got a whole new group to add to the tribe, and we are Cadillacing.
Good deal. Good deal. And for those of you out there that don't know what Cadillacing means, that means they've got the pedal down and they're rolling. So
absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm glad you explained that to me, because I was lost.
Oh, okay. Well, that's a term my dad used all the time. And that was, yeah. And that's a good way to describe it. I mean, you're going 100 mile an hour with your hair on fire, doing what you need to do. And that's good. That is good. And we're starting to get questions to pop in already.
Oh, yes, we are. Are you ready?
Yeah, go ahead, Stephen.
Okay. At Gina Develop, how do you tell others to try and find purpose after experiencing loss? Thank you, at Gina Develop, for that question.
So how do I tell people how to find purpose after a loss? I tell them, what were you doing prior to that loss? What was it that you guys were doing? Did you have a direction? Were you already did you have a place or a purpose that you were going to go before that loss? And if you did, what was it? And why if because you lost somebody, why does that change that goal? Why can't you continue forward? Why can't you do it in their legacy? Why can't you do it in your legacy to give peace? And that is exactly how I looked at it was as well. One, it could be anything as simple as, we had a plan to go to Costa Rica. Go to Costa Rica, do it and go alone. Go there and take that moment and that time that you have that you planned on doing with that person and do it. Live out one of their dreams. Maybe live out something that they've always wanted to do, but never had the time to do it. And now that there isn't any time left, why don't you do it? Because you're now the representative. You're the one there holding down the reins. You're the one that is carrying on their legacy. Why not find something that they did and go, you know what? We always wanted to go to Washington State to this. Go. And go back and live that moment for them. Not you, but for them. And so that's what I tell people after a loss is find a goal that has a future and lean towards it and see where it takes you. You'd be surprised because that person that passed away, they wanted to go there. So why were they so focused on wanting to go that or do that? Because it meant something to them. So it should mean something to you. And so that's what I tell them.
And I found it could be as something as simple. They might have wanted to go there to show it to you.
Yep. Absolutely.
And so, yeah, you're fulfilling their wishes, their legacy. That can be a remembrance touch point for, a good memory. And that's powerful stuff right there.
So,
It is.
it's worked for me. I can't say that it works for everyone, but I'm saying that a lot of times when we lose somebody, we lose our direction and we lose like our focus of why are we doing what we're doing and where are we going with this? And when that happens, the best way to do is to redirect yourself to the person that you lost and say, you know what? The plan was we were going to go and move up to Washington State and live out our years, with a small cafe off the coast, Okay, well, do it. What do you do it? Name the cafe after them. Or go down there and just see what was it that they wanted to experience or share with you. And that was so important that they took the time to tell you all about it. So take the time to live it.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yes.
I think we got
another question coming in. Let me find it because there we go. At Celebration for Fun, how has volunteering with Travis Manion helped you?
So
Thank you, Celebration for Fun, for that question.
How has the Travis Manion helped me as it comes to service? And that's the biggest thing. They take care of. The Travis Manion Foundation is very good with taking care of not only their veterans, but their families of the fallen. And that is something that we tend to forget about because they're their own culture, they're their own community. And what happens is when we focus on the veteran, which is great, and I think that is something we should absolutely focus on. But when that family loses that veteran, now they're losing that identity that made them a veteran family or made them, pro-military or pro-veteran. And when they lose that, people tend to just like, well, they're not part of the community anymore, and they are. And a lot of times, that's something that we need to bring back in and bring those survivors back in and go, hey, we haven't forgotten about you. Your loss matters. And a lot of times they feel like they are not there anymore. And so the fact that the Travis Manion focuses a lot on bringing them back into the fold and then giving them a purpose, like service. And that's the biggest thing about Travis Manion Foundation is it's about service. It's not just about, hey, can you give me some free tickets to a Thunder game, or can I get a really cool bumper sticker on the back of my car? It's like, hey, do you want to help other people that are struggling? Because we found that if we do that with positive psychology, it helps. It not only helps them, but it will help you because you can see the difference almost immediately. And so a lot of times I tell people that do some service, get down there and get your hands dirty, reach down and clean someone's yard or something. And you'd be surprised that little bit of humbling works. It just, you kind of see things in a different light. And a lot of times when I do my service, I don't talk much. I put my earphones in and I go to work because I'm spending that time just in reflection. And so I say service is such an important thing that I focus on, that's why I went with the Travis Manion Foundation, other than like TAPS or some of the big, huge survivor cultures that I don't have anything against. I think they're fantastic. But the Travis Manion just spoke to my heart about community.
I've had contact with them here in the local area, been to some of their functions and just, putting out wreaths, putting out flags, and just being with the people. Yeah, I cannot say enough about that organization and what they do for the community. And it's just, it's amazing.
Well, when we talk about veterans, I've been told, that the veterans are only make up 1 to 3% of our communities and our population. Well, what are we doing with the other 97 or 99% of the community? Is it not something that we need to take care of as well? And so we bring them both in. Let's connect the veterans with the community that doesn't understand what they've been struggling. And that's the way we can connect them, is by taking them and going, hey, do you know this? And bring them in and go, oh, because it changes the landscape when you start talking to civilians and you start explaining why we have these traditions and why we do the things that we do. It puts things into an easier context for them to understand. Okay, it's not just beans and bullets and violence. It was, oh, you guys were like, building communities, and your engineers were rebuilding schools, and that stuff right there. It informs the community of, we're not just a bunch of meatheads that did something protective. We did a lot of other things, and a lot of people join the military not to just do that. They join it for other reasons, and they get a lot out of it. And so that word's not being spread. And so that's something that I like about the Travis Manion Foundation. We can bring those two together in a way that both sides understand through service, and that helps us in the long run try to build what we're trying to build, which is the future of this next generation. And that's how we do it.
Yeah, and I think that's great that you pointed that out, because contrary to popular belief, not everybody that joins the military wants to be the first kid on their street with a confirmed kill. That's
and as for the civilian in the group, I'm learning more and more every day listening to all this, so I understand better what's going on.
Absolutely. And that's why the Travis Manion, they also focus on the kids, because that's our biggest focus, that we're empowering veterans and families of the fallen to develop character in future generations. We're doing that, and that helps on the backside, because a lot of these kids, when they see us and we talk to them, a lot of them join the military. And that has a lot of influence on them. And one of the biggest problems we had in the military since I got out, I retired a year ago, we're always complaining about, well, I have no way to connect to my younger soldiers. I have no way to understand where they're coming from, because they're from a different generation and a different group and a different work ethic. I get that. But if we can catch them before they get in, then you have a better chance of connecting with them down the road. And that's exactly what we do. We get them integrated with veterans and people that are very like-minded, and then it makes the transition a lot easier when they get in and they go, hey, I understand what you're saying. I'll do that. I've done that.
Yeah, you just kind of, it's almost like having a cheat sheet when you get in.
It is. You're not going to catch everyone, but you're going to catch a large group of them.
Yes. Yes. Now, have you been approached by, I don't know if they can do this or not, have you been approached by military recruiters to come in and talk to kids that they've already got on the block to go in?
Absolutely. So, matter of fact, on May 10th, I spoke to I guess they're called the blue phase, and it's all the soldiers that are going to be leaving for basic and AIT for the Oklahoma National Guard. It's like one last drill before they walk out the door, because they have such a high turnover rate that the kids, they first they sign their contract. They're like, oh, I'm in. But as that day approaches, they start getting the cold feet and they start going, well, maybe I shouldn't be doing this. And so at the last, they have a lot of turnover, and so they're constantly trying to look for any way that we can change that from happening. And so they reached out to me and said, hey, I've got 200 shippers. Can you come in and share your story or talk to them about, what it is that you guys do and see if we can connect? And so I did a presentation on May 10th, and it was 187 recruits leaving for basic training. And I'll tell you, it was an amazing. I had so many questions. I had to like cut some of them off because I'd have never got out of there. And it went really well because we had a lot of kids that were like, man, I don't know. But then after we spoke, they were like, okay, that makes more sense. I can see where you're coming from now. And I'm, as a civilian, but I've absolutely been approached, done it probably 3 times total since I started doing this for the Travis Manion Foundation.
Awesome. Like I said, it is a great organization. Stephen, I'm gonna pop this up. You want to read it?
Oh, sure. That's what I'm here for. Damien is real, and Okay. You said you were part of an honor project this weekend. Can you explain what that is? How can we better support Gold Star families year-round and not just on Memorial Day? Thank you, Damien is real, and for that question.
That's a fantastic 3-part question that's going to, I'm sure I'm going to get off in the weeds on one of these and forget what the other part of the question was. So the Honor Project was something that was established back during COVID. And what it was is that there was, how we had limited access to leave our homes and visit our loved ones. They had someone that went to go visit their loved one in Arlington. And when they did, there was no one out there. And so they thought, well, maybe so they just literally sent out an email saying, hey, if anyone knows anyone that's buried in Arlington that you would like for us to go visit on your behalf, let us know. And I think they got, don't quote me on this, but anywhere from 3,000 to 4,000 requests.
Wow.
Because people wanted, they're out of town, they weren't close to them, so they wanted someone to be there and just take a moment of their time to show their respects and gratitude to the fallen soldiers. And so they didn't have enough people. I think it was like 2 or 3 people. And so they reached out to the Travis Manion Foundation because they knew the organization is very big out there. And that's what got it started, because the Travis Manion Foundation was like, oh, we're all over this. Yeah, we want that. And so from then on, they started this where every Memorial Day or, the weekend prior or days before, they do this honor project and they honor all the veterans that have served at just about as many as the cemeteries they can get volunteers for. And so people can request on their website, hey, can you go visit my grandfather? Can you go visit my dad? Can you go visit my uncle? And they honor that request if that's one of the cemeteries that's on the list. They go out there, they leave them a marker, and then they take a picture so that they can show that they were there and they did pay some respect to them. And then they send it back to the family. So what we did is exactly the same thing. I got anywhere from 35 volunteers that wanted this opportunity to come out to the cemetery, and so we did a full ceremony, and then we explained what it is to be a survivor, what it means to be a veteran, and then what they do is we give them some markers, some tokens, and then we basically start from one end to the cemetery to the other, and they walk, and during that time they reflect, and they bring their kids, they bring their friends and relatives, and then they stop at every gravestone that has either a flag or is a veteran, regardless of how they were killed in action or just died, and they pay a couple of minutes in solitude and just sit and reflect with them, and then they move on to the next one until every single veteran in that cemetery has had somebody come pay their respects, with or without the family there. And so that is the honor project, and that's what we just did yesterday.
That's amazing.
That's it.
Yeah, that's
It took us about an hour and a half to walk the entire, but yeah, we assigned different sections for the kids and the adults, and then we try to and they just walk across on their own, and then at the end we get back together, do one more chance of reflection, and then we head to the house.
And I'm gonna throw in there, having the kids do this ensures, without a doubt, that our next generation will be doing this.
That's right.
That
we can only reach so many people with adults, where a lot of us are set in our ways, and a lot of us, have been destroyed from the hurts and the things of life that has dealt us some pretty savage wounds. And so, but the kids, on the other hand, everything to them is beautiful. Everything is sunshine and happy days and rainbows, and take advantage of that and go, show them, and then walk the line with them and make them understand and see the different conflicts that they've been in, and the different things that and a lot of them you can look up and you could read their story right to them. And so we provided a story of a fallen soldier that was buried there and said, hey, here's his story. Take it with you on your way out and share it with as many people as you can. That way their legacy continues on.
Yes, it does. And just in case you forgot what the second part of the question is, how can we better? Oh, you hadn't?
No, I said I have, absolutely.
Oh, okay. How can we better support Gold Star families year round and not just on the
So every state has what they call an SOS coordinator, and they're usually affiliated with the National Guard in each state, because their whole job is to make sure that the survivors are taken care of. And the SOS coordinator is their whole job is to find different events and find different people to connect them with, and they are exactly the connection between the two. A lot of times we lose those connections between the unit that surgery was in, because people move. We have people that are reassigned to a different location, but the coordinator, their whole job is to track every single survivor in that state. Anytime they move and they get a new one, their stuff rotates in and they get all of it. And so the SOS coordinator is exactly the start of where you want to go, because they have a list of every name, who and what they are willing to accept. And that way, year round, they've got their own websites. They've got each state's got them named with SOS Oklahoma, SOS. If you go on to Facebook or Instagram, they name it real simple so it's not hard to find.
Mm-hmm.
TAPS is a big one that you can go onto their website year round, and they've got stuff going on year round, just about every state you could possibly think of. And that's the first and easiest way to connect with them, because there's it's a diverse group that feel that are a little bit disconnected, and sometimes they don't want to be found, and sometimes they do, or they just don't realize it. And so coming to their events that they put on allows you to interact with them. And they're just about every month there's some kind of dinner that they do. There's always some kind of event that they're with it. They do a Gold Star tree lighting. Every single capital does it. Even DC does it. So these events, they're year round. They're at the same time every year. They do stuff for them on Veterans Day. They do stuff Memorial Day, and that you can find them real simple, just going in there and Googling. And
now,
that's a good way to
let me
start.
ask you. You said SOS, say New Jersey. Is it S.O.S. or is it just SOS?
Okay. It's an acronym.
For me, people like me that don't know how to look it up, so I want to make sure. You said it, and I'm sitting here thinking, I'm like, okay, I got to figure it out. That's what I figured it out. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. Hey, while we got a little break here, I'm going to take a moment to mention Reads Across America Radio, 3 p.m. Eastern on Mondays. You can catch us on there. Make sure you tune in. We would love to have you. That is Reads Across America Radio, 3 p.m. Eastern on Mondays. And if you're not watching the live version of this show, we'd just like to welcome you to the show. And thank you all for being here. All right. So we've talked a lot about the Travis Manion Foundation, talked about what you're doing. You mind talking a little bit? Because, okay, expecting my roomie to have his faster wig and pumping it up tonight. Even that means that, yeah, you need to pump it up a little bit tonight.
Oh,
But,
oh, I should have brought it then. That's hilarious that he remembered that.
What I was going to ask you is, you mentioned your kids at the first of the show, telling you, hey, basically, get up and do this. Can you kind of go in just a little bit more about how your kids have, because I think kids are very resilient.
They are.
And they just take things at face value and just run with it. Explain how your kids have been a help to you during all this.
Man, you're going to get me emotional, but yeah. So kids don't understand the level of pain that goes along with it. They do, but not. They process pain and suffering different. It's like it comes in waves. It comes in different cycles, and so they don't feel it the same way that an adult does.
Mm-hmm.
And so a lot of times in the beginning, they were just numb, and they didn't know how to talk to me or how to reach me, because I was having a hard time just trying to connect with anybody. And and so they just kept like, Dad, you want to go, do something? You want to? And at first I was like, no, I don't want to do anything. And they just what it was is that they just kept encouraging. They kept making things available that I didn't think about making available. And so, like, we built a car together, and it was one of my oldest sons. It was like, well, can you show me how to build this? Can you show me? He basically played on my strengths and said, well, I know you're good at this, so why don't you show me how to do this? And when he did that, it brought me out of my shell, and I started going, I do have purpose. I do have a skill set that I'm not utilizing. And then the next one did the same thing, and it became this continuous motion of, hey, Dad, show me how to fish. Hey, Dad, can you show me how to write this paper? And at first I didn't catch it. I was just like, yeah, because it gave me a direction. It gave me something to do, and it was something that I was good at. So I kept, and so they were instrumental in bringing me out of this dark place, because they didn't know how else to reach me, but they decided, well, I know that he used to do this, and I know he used to be into OU football. Let's just see if we can reach him through doing that. And that's how my kids got me out of sitting at home, and I didn't know where I should go, and military was being extremely difficult because I didn't know my leadership had, as much as you may think that they are prepared for that, they're not. And the Army did not do a good job of like picking me up and dusting me off and going, hey, brother, we got you. It wasn't like that at all. It was a lot of just, well, you're a senior NCO, you got this. And they just left me. And it was a lot of just, well, if you need help, you'll ask. No, you won't. No, we don't ask for help, because there's a lot of a stigma that comes along with asking for help. But my kids, they were like, I need some help. Can you show me this? Or I need some help. And that, got me to start moving forward. And that's where the whole plan came into place. Like, didn't you say you wanted to do that? And I was like, yeah. Well, then let's do it. And so that's exactly how my kids did it.
And
they weren't letting you crawl up into the ball. They were making you get up and do it. That's fantastic.
And that, first of all, I'm sure they didn't do this all on their own. They
Sure.
all conspired.
Absolutely. Strength in numbers.
And I just, the amount of love it took to do that, it says a lot about you, Aaron. That's awesome. That is awesome.
Thank you.
We'll post something up there. David Johnson jumped up and said, "This is one of the most informative, insightful shows on the internet, a hidden gem that deserves to be a primetime viewer." Well, thank you, David. Glad you jumped on this evening. I don't know, Aaron. I can't say enough about your story. Each one of these that we do on Memorial Week, I'm usually having to. That's why I'm glad I wear glasses. You can't see how red my eyes are, and how much I'm blinking because of the glare and stuff. And your story is just amazing. And just you got the Travis Manion Foundation now. You're doing it. What's next?
So I want to, like right now, we're trying to get the chapter off the ground in Oklahoma is my next focus. And because with a chapter in our state comes a lot of other things that Travis Manion Foundation allows us to expand on. And just recently, my family, and I don't know if you guys knew this or not, we were the 2025 Oklahoma Veteran Family of the Year this year.
Nice.
Yeah. And I didn't even know that was a thing. And so they took us down to the Capitol, and the lieutenant governor, presented us with a plaque. And as soon as that happened, the Department of Veteran Affairs reached out to me and was like, "Hey, we're trying to get this pilot program off the ground to be mentors for other veterans. Would that be something you'd want to do?" And I was like, "Absolutely. Yeah, I don't, if there's anyone we can help, and if it's, it's a former green suiter or blue suiter, well, absolutely. I would love to talk to anybody that will listen, or, I share a story, or I can hear their story and just listen. Because a lot of times we just need somebody to listen to me, and just sit there. A lot of times you don't have to say anything. So I'm going to take that offer that's on the table right now with the Department of Veteran Affairs in Oklahoma, and I'm going to run with that as well. So I'm going to do that continuous with the Travis Manion Foundation.
Okay. Well, hey, when we get off here this evening, I'm going to make sure you stay in the green room. I'm going to give you a name and a phone number that you can reach out to there in Oklahoma. Hopefully he can be another chapter member. He's a former Marine, so you got to talk slow.
Oh, another crown eater. Okay. Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
I know how to talk to them.
Okay. All right.
Absolutely.
He likes them purple.
Purple. Nice. I think I can help him out. No problem. That would be great. I'd love to talk to him.
All right. And he's my brother-in-law, so
okay.
He won't, if he knows you, he ain't going to shoot you when you walk.
That's good to know. That's a good thing to know. I'll write that down. Don't shoot.
I'm gonna pop another question in here, Stephen.
Okay. At Louisa Loves Tacos, what message would you send to military spouses who've lost a loved one? Thank you, at Louisa Loves Tacos, for that question.
Awesome. So since the death of my wife, all the things that have been happening to me have, it's just been compounding of good things and another good thing, and then this happened, and then now this is happening, and I'm reaching out to all these people. There was this quote that it is not mine, but I live by it, and that quote is, "I've learned to love the very thing I wish never happened." Does that make sense? I've learned to love the very thing that I wish never happened, because if it hadn't happened, you and I wouldn't be having this conversation right now. I would not be engaged in the Travis Manion Foundation. I would not have the friends, and I would be on a completely different direction and path if it wasn't for that event. And don't get me wrong, I would not miss a second to bring my loved one back. I don't want that to be misconstrued in any way, shape, or form. But so many good things have happened to me that I've had to look at it and go, you know what? It may have been a horrible tragedy, but now I'm on a completely different path, helping other people that I would never be talking to. and I would never have met. And I've met some amazing people. This past year, I have met more people than I can shake a stick at of just their stories and the things they've done and what they're doing in their state. And I have to say that because of the tragedy that put me in that direction, that I would never wish on anybody, not even my worst enemy, but I've done so many great things since then that I have to embrace it as maybe this is the direction I was meant to go, or this is the direction that I, should be going, and to run with it until there's nothing left. So that is what I tell people.
That's awesome. And basically it was lacing up your boots, putting on your kit, and continuing mission. And, and with the help of your loved ones around you, keeping your head straight, keeping everything focused. You're doing great things, man. That's all we can say about that. Get and reach out. It is known that we all have 3 deaths: our physical death, our burial, and the day our name is stopped being said. The Honor Project ensures that the 3rd death is delayed. Yes, it does.
Absolutely.
Yes, it does. You will never die as long as someone says your
name. Absolutely. Matter of fact, that was part of one of the speeches that we gave yesterday. That is it, word for word, right out of one of the speeches that we gave. So you couldn't be more spot on.
Awesome. Thank you for tossing that in there, Rich.
Rich says that all the time. He'll post it all the time. Say the names. Say their names.
I used to say, soldiers don't care how much you know until you show those soldiers how much you care. And you can take that and swap out soldier for loved one. You can swap out for friend, relative, coworker, anybody. You can swap that out and go, you know what? Yeah. If you show them how much you care, your acts of kindness, your actions define you, not your words. So a lot of people like to say what you want to hear, but they don't do what you need them to do.
Yeah, because we've all had that leader that's really not, let's say, competent in the MOS.
Oh, yeah.
But you could call him at 3:00 in the morning and he's going to be there to help you jumpstart your car.
Yep, or bury a body. So
there you go.
I didn't want to go there, but yes. Yeah.
I was going to say the pig farm.
Hey, I got to take just a second out to say hello to my grandson Wyatt. He just popped in and said hello. Thank you, Wyatt, for popping on.
Nice.
Okay, where was we? Oh yeah, but yeah, show people you care.
Absolutely.
And I saw a T-shirt today, and I stopped the person in front of me. I mean, it almost moved me to tears. And it's the T-shirt that says, "Dear person behind me, the world is a better place today because you were here," signed the person in front of you. That is so simple.
Yeah.
And like I said, it almost moved me to tears. I stopped the person and thanked them. And I'm like, those simple little random acts. And I think if more people did them,
I've heard one that said, the person that you want to be can be found directly behind the things you don't want to do.
Wow. Okay.
That was a good one.
And that one hit me hard. I was like, oh, yeah. We talk about, you'll kill for your family, but will you work out for your family? Will you eat better for your family? If you're willing to die for them, if you're willing to, then are you willing to do the other things just as much as the other?
Yeah, I mean, are you willing to live longer?
That's right. Are you willing to take care of yourself so that we can take care of you? Like there's a lot of stuff that goes with that. It's profound. It's simple, but it's profound.
And I know somebody who recently did that and doing the hard things. And I'll just, he knows who he is. I'm just going to say I'm proud of him.
Nice.
I'm very proud of him, and I know he's listening. So,
Awesome.
but yeah, do that hard thing.
Mm-hmm.
Stick around for your family.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, Stephen, you have to throw some comedy relief in here.
No, I am like, I feel this weight on my shoulders right now. I'm like, damn.
Well, let me tell you a little bit about my wife that a lot of people didn't know before she
Okay.
got it. So my wife was one of the first females in the Army to go out to be a infantryman. She put her name in the hat when they opened up the ranks as like, hey, does any NCOs want to go and do the infantry MOSQ school so that we could start opening up the slots for women? And she said yes. And so she was one of the very first. And she went. They sent her down to Alaska and to be reclassed, and she missed it by 2 feet. So then you used to have to throw a hand grenade 90 feet, and she missed it by 2. She threw it 88. But if she would have made that, if she would have thrown that hand grenade 90 feet, she had already passed the 12-mile road march. She had already done all the other simple things. She would have been one of the first. And not only that, she was a Caddo Indian. So that would open the door for her to be one of the first female warriors of her tribe and be recognized as one. And that it was so close. And that was one of the things that devastated her, because she wasn't going to get that opportunity to go back. Because when she broke her hip, that ended all the chances of going back. But her plan was to go back after the third deployment and complete it and be one of the first. And it's funny, is 4 months later, there would be an Alaskan female that ends up passing the course about 4 months later, and they write a huge article about her. It's well deserved, but my wife was there 4 months before her. And if it was just for those 2 feet, we may be seeing a completely different tone, because she was tracking to go to Afghanistan right afterward. So that would have put her at a good opportunity to be in combat, which I wouldn't suggest that for anybody, but she'd been awarded the CIB, combat infantry badge, I'm sorry. And that would have changed a lot of things for her as well as I. So there was a lot of people didn't realize that. And so we had the plan was, well, to pass. And so when she lost that, there's a lot of things that she had put in place to try to complete when she got back. And that was one of them. So I commend her for even wanting to go and try, because there is nothing sexy about the infantry. I loved it for 15 years, but other than that, it's a different group of the individuals that brother that I absolutely love, but it's a different group. And but it didn't bother her in the slightest. She was in a class with 34 other guys, and it didn't even remotely bother her at all.
When I was signing up to go into the Army, my dad said, if you join the infantry, he says, you'll never live to see basic training. So that was his only, he was an infantryman, and he said, son, he said, that's no life. And
but she wanted to do it to be a trailblazer, to be one.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I was shocked because they didn't give her any time to train. They were like, "You want to go? Go," and she did. And so that took a lot of guts,
that says a lot about who she was.
Yes, absolutely.
And to be one of the first female warriors of your tribe.
Oh yeah.
Because that tribe's probably how old?
Oh yeah. They were all rooting for her. Like there was a group that was very much like, oh, every day, how's she doing? She's made it past that. Okay, where's she at on this? Oh, she made it past that. And they were like, oh, that's awesome. We're so close. We hit day 10, and she was still a go on everything until she got to the obstacle course to throw that. And I was like, ooh, I don't know. We were worried about that. but it is what it is. So,
Well, hey, either way,
yeah,
hats off to her for trying.
Yeah,
going out there and giving 100% doing it.
Yep. She wasn't even mad when she failed. She just was like, well, I'll just get another shot at it. I'll be back. And I was like,
hey,
okay.
I told somebody the other day that each failure just opens up another opportunity for success.
That's right. You're not trying if you don't fail. I'll put it that way.
Yes. Yes, it is. Well, hey, Aaron, we're fixed to wind down a little bit here.
Okay.
I want to mention again the Reads Across America radio, 3 p.m. Eastern on Mondays. And if you're feeling down, if you're feeling like there's nowhere else to go, get on that phone, dial 988, take option 1, and talk to somebody. And the world is going to be a more beautiful place tomorrow with you in it. Absolutely. So make sure you do that if you're feeling the darkness. Now it's time to put you on the hot seat, Aaron.
Uh-oh. What it is? What you got?
We don't feel like the Lone Ranger here. We ask this of all of our guests.
Okay. 3
non-negotiables that Aaron has to do every day or his day is not complete.
3 non-negotiables. 1, make my bed. That is number 1. I have to make my bed. 2, honor every commitment that I said that I was going to do that day, regardless if I don't have the time or not. I make the time to do it. And 3, love my family until there's no more love to give.
Okay. All right.
So
make your bed, honor all your commitments, and love your family until you have no more to give.
That's right.
Great things. Great things.
I thought that was going to be a hard one. Okay.
I know.
I was like, what's the maximum effective range of an excuse? I'm like, oh, that's a good one. 0 meters.
Yes. Well, as a first sergeant, you should know that.
I do. I've used that one. Absolutely. I've got a lot of zingers. That's just one of many. But yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Probably some we can't talk about here.
Absolutely, too. That is very true.
Stephen, any words of wisdom?
No words of wisdom. I want to thank Aaron for this emotional roller coaster that we've been on for the last almost hour. It had me up, it had me down, it had me sitting here saying, damn. It was very good chat. And
thank you.
I got
Thank
a
you
lot
so
of
much.
information out of it.
Absolutely. I'll come back in a second. You guys are awesome.
All right. Well, hey, Misfit Nation, we're going to sign out for now. And thank you for checking us out. Thank you for the wonderful questions this evening, as always. And we love you.
Good night, everybody. Thank you.
Thanks for checking us out and being a part of the Misfit Nation Show. Don't forget to visit our website at themisfitnation.com. That's themisfitnation.com. Check out all our past episodes and get some of the great Misfit Nation gear for you and your family. As always, be humble, stay hungry, and keep hustling because we are
Misfit Nation. Misfit Nation.